From your time on set, watching other DPs, what have you seen great DPs do before, during, and after a scene? Because you're so observant as well, but
Right.
also just being around them.
It's an intimate experience, the DP and actor relationship, because you're literally staring down the barrel of something right at them, getting what they're doing. And I think the great DPs are the ones that understand that, and they treat the situation with as much respect as possible, especially in some tough situations when you're doing like a love scene or something really emotional. It's hard for people who are not an actor to understand what it's like to get into a mindset like that, and to have the world around them and the world in the frame be that world as good as possible so that the audience will believe it. It's tough. On a movie set, it's not really the environment. It's not a very romantic environment, a movie set. You know, there's a ton of people standing around just staring at you, and it's awkward. And it takes really a lot of concentration and a lot of effort. And if your air about you as a cinematographer is that this world that you're capturing is protected, and you make them feel that that is a protected environment that the actors can be free and comfortable in, then that really helps them a lot, I think, to divorce themselves from any distractions that might be present on set as well. And that way they can do their job as good as possible. And that's what I've learned from a lot of the great, better DPs that I've worked with, is that if you can make the environment really comfortable for the actor and let them know that they're being taken care of, really that's the bottom line.
And then after you say cut?
After you say cut, I think I've developed a relationship with some actors that I worked with where I can sort of give them a look. And it's not something I intentionally do or even do on purpose. It's just like, if I felt it, a lot of times I show that on my face somehow. I can't help it. I'm not a good poker player. I will like emote somehow, and I think they sense it. And a lot of times people, a couple actors that I work with on a regular basis, we have a relationship where he'll look over at me after a performance and he'll know whether he did it right or not. And it's not even sometimes whether his performance is right, but how he was situated or whatever. And I probably shouldn't be talking about this stuff, but that's important, to make sure that whatever they were doing was captured right. And if I felt like I didn't get it right enough, I don't want to like let that go and just beat around the bush on it. I want to be honest with them, even non-verbally, to let them know it needs to be done again, or it could be better. I think that's somewhat of a responsibility of the DP as well, whether they know it or not, or sometimes it just happens to be the case. The director's decision is always final, and it always is the most important decision because they're the ones seeing the big picture of the film. And sometimes there's other things going on, time and money-wise, but I think I've a few times I've risked being the one at fault so that the actor could get another take. Like I've blamed myself for something. I say, oh, it's out of focus. And just so we can get one more. And it ultimately is not going to hurt anybody. And it's actually going to help them. In the editing room, if you have another take, usually that's a real good thing. So maybe they'll be mad at me for a short period of time. Or maybe I've caused a small hiccup just for a second. But if I was able to help get one more good one that everybody was in sync and in harmony on, including the sound people and sometimes as a cinematographer, you're in the position to help someone like that. If the sound people didn't get it, and if it's a difficult political situation on set, I found myself sometimes taking the heat for things where, you want to make sure that everybody gets the best version of what they're doing on screen, but sometimes it's a difficult political situation for one or two people or three people or whatever, and you can help each other out that way, It's probably like a secret you shouldn't be telling people, but yeah, it happens every now and then, and I think that's something that you can attest to being focused on the final product more than anything, and making sure that's the best thing possible.
So just to recap, the thing a DP should be doing beforehand, during, and after.
Okay, I'll make it brief. So before, I think you should be making sure the environment for the actor is very comfortable, that they feel like they're being taken care of in front of the camera. During the take, I think you should be really observant and pay very close attention to what the actor is doing, even outside of the frame. It's a challenging thing to do when you're trying to do all kinds of technical stuff as well. But if you can do that, then I think you're, higher up level of cinematographer. And then after the fact, I think you can assist the actor in feeling comfortable that that take was right. And I think if it wasn't right, you can be honest with them sometimes. Obviously, it's a case-by-case basis, but I think it's important to make sure that the film is the best film possible. That's your job as a cinematographer, to be capturing the best thing you possibly can for the director. And if you feel that it wasn't right, it's tough because it isn't a subjective opinion, and it might have been right for the director, in which case you can state your opinion, but ultimately defer to the director's choice. And that's cool, because sometimes most of the time, the director knows better than you anyway. But if you do feel like something technical happened or whatever, I think it's important to be honest about that and to make sure that nobody's gonna get in trouble in the editing room, because that's a real bad thing. When everyone thinks everything's all jolly and then they get in the editing room and they're like, what happened here? That's a problem for you as a professional to have caused some issue in post. So try to avoid that as often as possible by over-providing choices, essentially, for the director and the editor. And part of that is just, like I said, being honest and having somewhat of a back and forth nonverbal relationship sometimes with the actor, whether they can tell just by how you are. I mean, I don't know if this is the case for everybody, so I'm just telling you how it works for me. But a lot of times for me, that's how it works. So, and the directors know this too, that I work with. I have enough rapport with them, and they are aware of what I do enough to know that this is part of how it is with this, when I'm on the project with them. And ultimately, the best interest of the project is always at the forefront of my mind and at the director's mind. So collaborative effort is needed there as well. And sometimes if there is a problem with an actor, with the director, you can help mediate that by providing, again, a comfortable environment for the actor to be in. And you just gotta navigate those things very carefully.